I'm going to be so real. Everything that I've heard from the 2024 revision, I despise it.
It's hard to find that right level though, because you don't want to just TPK every time, but you want it to be a
Yes,
challenge. I still, to this day, have not heard a good argument of why you can't cast 2 leveled spells in a turn if one is an action and one is a bonus action.
There is beautiful storytelling in success, and there's beautiful storytelling in failure, and there's beautiful storytelling to be told in the middle.
I want to start trying to introduce a new segment on here, which is going to be 5-minute DM.
Yeah.
You want to try?
Go for it.
But
I am going to get this bug.
hi guys, and welcome back to Above the Table. We've got the usual here today, myself, Seb, and our resident DM, Cody. And we're kind of going to trend jack a little bit of what's been popular and talked about at the moment with all the drama.
You don't admit your crimes. You don't admit your crimes to the public.
We know what we're doing here. But it's what's been talked about, and it's what we want to talk about. DnD Beyond and the big change from 2014 to 2024 rules, and some of the stuff that kind of peels out from there, because it is some of their changes have directly affected us in our most recent game. So we're going to start on that topic and go on a whole heap of tangents. Like usual, we'll try and put some stuff in the bar below so you can skip around where you want to, but let's jump into it.
There we go. Right. Got some choice clack, clack, clack words about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so those of you who have obviously been following probably are well aware of what's happened with the imminent full release of the 2024 revised core rules for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, or in this case everyone's calling it 1DnD or 5.5, yeah, or 6th edition if you really want to call it that. People were curious about what D&D Beyond was going to do with that, because D&D Beyond obviously used to be its own independent company back in the day, and then they partnered with Wizards of the Coast, and then Wizards of the Coast bought them out. So now they are owned by Wizards of the Coast. The idea was, and if I remember this correctly, they swore black and blue. They're like, no, if you've got the 2014 rules, you'll be able to use them exactly the same, because if you don't buy the new rules, then how are you going to play the game?
Yeah, well, they put up a
change log
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, there's all that too. But they put up something like a couple of weeks ago, because the same day I messaged you, I ended up going on Instagram and having a look, and it was showing that there's like an option from 2024 and then 2014 rules.
Yep.
But then like a few days later, that all just went away.
I know.
The story's still there. If I can find it, I'll put it here. But then everyone started getting mad that while technically you could pick for your class all the spells, all the effects, like all the stuff below that top layer of your character were changing based on the new rules.
I also found it really weird that the biggest one that I found was post-production wise, I'll find the video that I initially saw on TikTok or Instagram, and I'll get Seb to link to that, so if I can find it. Was the key spells and abilities that were accessible in the 2014 rules that have been revised for the 2024 rules, they were just going to change them overall. And that triggered a response in my brain, because I'm like, well, hang on then. So you're giving away the 2024 content without anyone paying for it. A, you're shooting yourself in the foot. B, it's also the least you could do, considering all things that have happened. But then what if people don't like the new variants and now we can't access it? And then it turned into that next thing that happened, where the changelog came out and they're like, you can still have all of them, but you need to homebrew them into your D&D Beyond to access them.
So D&D Beyond, even before it was owned by WotC, had that kind of built-in same thing though, where even without buying the player's handbook, you could build characters using all the rules from it.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted to go into extended modules and separate books, you had to buy that stuff. But if it was in the base rules, you could always build those characters.
I think they got away with it based on a hosting service. So the fact of the matter is like, sure, we don't charge people to have accounts with us, because it was free for ages back then. We don't charge people to have accounts. We bought this product, and that's what's going to happen here.
Yep.
And then that's it. Like, it's just done. So I think that's how they got away with it. But yeah, then it became a partnership.
I think there was also the Creative Commons rules that's now...
Probably.
So there was a fair use kind of thing back in the past for the base rules. Now it's full Creative Commons. So I think that's kind of what's doing it. And I have seen stuff from the guys from WotC directly saying the new rules will go into the public domain again as well. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work with a brand new product, but...
Rules to content is, I think, personal opinion, I think that they don't care about the rules going into the Creative Commons because all the content that comes out, like all the adventures and themes, that's something that they're going to directly own, and they think that that's going to be the winner, which I really don't know with how this steps. But
it worries me how much they're putting the price up of books too.
The gouging's fucking stupid.
Like, I for one don't want to be paying $80 for a single adventure, but I guess if there's enough cool content in there.
Yeah, it seems now that it's only justifiable to buy a new adventure module, or, well, actually, no, it only seems justifiable to buy a new adventure module if it gives you more beyond just the adventure. Yep. Like buying Wild Beyond the Witchlight, I really wasn't intrigued much about it until I got it because I really wanted the Harengon, and to get the Harengon, I needed to buy the book. And then obviously there's some cool NPC stat blocks in there. I don't care about the adventure for Wild Beyond the Witchlight. I literally only care about the monsters, the backgrounds, the races. That's it. It's the only reason I ever buy books anymore.
Honestly, it's even like we're doing our own module at the moment. So I'm halfway through the second draft of it at the moment. It's got a lot of work to do yet, but we really want to try and include a few new custom monsters, custom magic items, and aspects that can be pulled and used in any game. So like, it still has value to people that don't want to run that Feywild adventure.
Exactly. Like the I think we've had chat about it off camera where Seb's doing the module running, and then I'm coming on to read it as a DM that has like DM brain. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how this would work. Oh, we might change the language on that, this and that. And depending on how well that lands, we want to expand more of our version of the Fey into like a bigger source book, and that source book will have, you know, characters like Blackhorn will be in it, Vera the Crone, the Wanderer, he'll be a stat block that's in it. We want to make some of the Sealy and Unsealy Court. Yeah, like we're doing the whole... I've had the court built for about a year, ever since Seb started prepping for the Feywild Death Run on the channel. I already had a separate document where all the courts were listed out and who the key players are and all these key NPCs are, which will hopefully will actually get to come to light in Campaign 1, which in turn will influence the book for post-Campaign 1 release.
We're already on this tangent, but yeah, let us know below if you guys are interested in modules from us, because we'll make note of who does and keep you guys updated, because they're coming. But we'd love to know an actual concept of real interest from our audience.
I feel like there's the Fey has been a thing that's been neglected for a long time, and now I'm seeing a lot of third-party creators and content creators doing their own variants of like the Feywild and like Fey Wandering and all that sort of stuff. So I'm very curious to see how well they're gonna land and be different, and it'll be cool. It'll be cool to do. On top of that, we're also still just doing heaps of custom stuff. Like I've got custom subclasses that are due to come out soon. Custom class, the Skirmisher, I'm still working on it. I basically put the Siphon on the back burner until I finish the Skirmisher, because there's been heaps of refitting for that, because that's coming out again soon.
We have this problem of biting off more than we can chew. So we have several custom races, several custom classes, tons of magic
races
items,
are easy.
Modules and stories and things that we want to fully produce, but you know, we all have full-time jobs.
Exactly. So I've Seb's focused himself on the module. I focused myself on the subclasses and the classes, as well as writing the story and all that sort of stuff. And we're slowly expanding, like different, like Mon, Sky, Bailey, they're all doing different things now to help us mitigate that. I'm reaching out to like other friends, like Josh, who's been on the channel, because he mains a lot of spellcasters. I've been sending stuff to him about the wizard subclass I'm working on. It's been good to like exfil some of that and get input from other people. I just voted a little bit. It's been fun to put that out and get that insight from people that play those classes and be like, oh, I love this. Oh, I'm not so much on this. Like the sorcerer subclass, I've been communicating heaps with Georgia about that because she's played a sorcerer before, and her brother, who's like an absolute like D&D nerd, he's helping me like retrofit some stuff to like put it up on DnD Beyond so she can test it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really, really fun.
If anyone wants to test stuff, yeah,
always looking for people to play test, jump on and create. You know, it's not a paid position. We do this because we do it for free. We do it for fun. But I would love to get some other people to come and help build, especially on classes like the Skirmisher and the Siphon, where it's basically the Skirmisher started as a monk reskin because I didn't like the monk. And now it's turned into its own thing where it's like influenced by the monk and the pugilist by B. Huffman and bringing it together. It's been incredible.
I'm going to do a quick side note. We've said it before, but sorry again if there's noise today. I live in a house with my roommate and it's wooden floorboards above us. And he's feeling particularly productive today. So I think he's vacuuming right now, but it is what it is.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all part of the course. But that's a really good tangent. Third-party content and supplements.
DnD Beyond.
On DnD Beyond. We've vaguely been speaking about it recently. And then we'll circle back to like some of the drawbacks of the updates and stuff that we found. I guess how do I jump into this in a good way? Anyone who uses DnD Beyond, which is about 95% of people now, DnD Beyond and I guess DnD as a whole have finally, in a really peculiar roundabout way, in the wake of the OGL fiasco, have started releasing third-party published books as library downloadable stuff on DnD Beyond.
I love that they have. I don't think we've done any yet in our stuff, but as someone that loves third-party content, honestly, more than half the stuff that Watsy released.
Yeah, well, I played Vinny was a Blood Wizard. That was Tal'Dorei. That was
I'm all for it. Like, I'm planning another one-shot, again, another Fae thing, which will probably eventually build into another module that the guys lately have just started saying, so what do we need for characters? I'm like, nothing's off the table that we would allow in our normal world. Like, I don't care about where you get the content from, as long as it fits into Miros.
In that case, there's only class restrictions. I mean, race restrictions, because there's certain ones that I just cannot explain. Like Thrycreen and Plasmoids. I can't have jelly people and blood and bug people.
Again, though, so this new game that I'm playing is... The core concept will be Fae high-ups pulling people from different places. They could pull them from other planes. They don't have to come from the material plane.
Different planes? Yes. I'm still not allowing bug people. I hate Thrycreen. Thrycreen are just ridiculous. I don't know. Plasmoids, ridiculous. I don't like them as races. But if someone came to me like, oh, look, you want to do this thing? I was like, okay, well, you're going to be a mad scientist experiment. You ever seen The Fly? That's why you're a Thrycreen.
Yeah, they're not a regular race, but we'll find a way to make it work.
I'll make a custom race before I ever sign off on a Plasmoid. Ever.
But yeah, I love that there is more third-party content going into DnD Beyond because it is such a handy way to introduce people to the game. And you know, if you want that stuff in your game, but you want to bring someone new in and allow them to do it, instead of them having to read rules and figure out how to hack it in there, just for someone that doesn't have a clue to be able to go, cool.
Exactly. So the biggest ones we've seen so far is Kobold Press. They did their Tome of Monsters, Volume 1. That entire volume's up, which I think they're on to like Volume 3 now. So my assumption is there's going to be all three of them at some point. Grim Hollow's Lairs of Etheris, which is their... it was basically like one-shot encounters. So key monster stat blocks were available because they're part of the adventure for those. So obviously it's not the entire Monster Grimoire, which I have and use, and I do love it.
Came up the other day, didn't it?
Yes, it did. So this will come out before those episodes air, but a monster that the party had to face was using the Grim Hollow book. And then the biggest one for me, MCDM's Flea Mortals was on there, which was one of my favourite monster books ever released. MCM's design philosophy on creatures, I think, is just the most superb and superior design that I have now implemented a lot of those into my homebrew with like the villain actions for the Grave Witch, which is a character that'll come up at some point. And the villain parties, we've used them before on the Undying League, on the Devastation, the Nerdettes game. Incredible stuff.
I'll be interested to see how much D&D Beyond does bring other third-party content.
Well, here's the
into
thing. Did
availability.
you see the Instagram post that they put up? They
can't
put up an Instagram post. We might whack up a screenshot so people can see it. Where
if I don't do this stuff, I just fucked up in the edit. So
yeah, bad sense. They put up a thing saying more content from these creators coming. MCDM, Kobold Press, Grim, Ghostfire Gaming, and there was another one there that I hadn't seen before. And I was like, oh, they're 110% going into this now. Like they're fucking diving in headfirst into the maelstrom that they want to try, and they're going to try and make a conglomerate of all these big third-party publishers on this app.
I think it's the only way they can make money off it now, because look, this might sound a little bit cheeky, but I feel like they were trying to pull money from all these third-party creators with the whole...
Absolutely, that's what they were trying to do.
And it backfired, so they were like, well, we can't make money off these third-party creators now, but they're like, well, if we sell them through here and we take a cut of each sale, it's a way now that they can be making money off third-party creators. But honestly, I'm not mad about it happening that way.
How hard can this content creation, Pete? Take a stab at it.
That's Cody's third Red Bull in a few hours.
Oh, brothers and sisters.
We're caffeine addicts here, okay? I buy Red Bull by the case.
You know what? We're going to pull the camera out of this. We're going to get a shot of my coffee tattoo. I have a tattoo of a coffee cup on my leg. It's fucking hilarious. But anyway.
Yeah, more third-party content. I like it. I wish everything was cheaper than that, but I know what you need to make a buck. Otherwise, D&D will go away.
It's so silly to me that a game publisher is using the cost of living and inflation crisis to justify them making more money on a hobby item, not an essential item.
I think they are using that excuse. Like, the whole thing's been come out for a while that they changed around some of the board members and they decided D&D, for such a well-known household name, was under-monetized.
It's so fucking stupid. Of course it's under-monetized because it's only played by a certain core group of people. As long as it keeps the company afloat, there should not be any fucking drive to try and empty people's pockets. It's just so... I'm very passionate about this thing. This is a game that saved my life.
To like when it was just WotC's one thing, but now belongs to Hasbro. And they have shareholders, and if something doesn't make money, it goes away.
I'm going to shit in Hasbro's mailbox.
So, look...
On the record.
It's the way the world works, unfortunately. But as long as there are people out there that want to play it, and if there's ways like the D&D Beyond stuff that can keep it afloat. But then, you know, there's other licensing things they're doing now. Like, there's a new round of minifigs that are D&D.
Did you see the announcement for Amazon Prime getting the creators of Love, Death and Robots to do a animated show called Secret Level?
And they're all in different
video games. Dungeons and Dragons is one of them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so Dungeons and Dragons, I have a feeling it's probably going to be more directed to Neverwinter, because there was a lot of games for Neverwinter and Dread Steward and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, my roommate played all the old Neverwinter games.
I've got a whole box set that some dude sold me for $15. I'm pretty sure it values at a couple of hundred now.
It's funny because like he played all the old Neverwinter Nights games. I had no idea it was Forgotten Realms or D&D until Neverwinter got mentioned in Baldur's Gate. He's like, hang on. And it clicked suddenly that all these things are like related.
They're all interconnected, dude. I've got Baldur's Gate 1, 2, Neverwinter Nights 1, 2, the expansion. I've got the Icewind Dale expansion. I've got it all, man, just in a little box in my car.
We have to get you onto Baldur's Gate 3 at some point.
I've
got Mon coming next Monday for one of these. It'll probably come out in a couple of months for you guys just because of our release schedule, but I can guarantee we're going to be talking about Baldur's Gate in that one.
I will put money down. Astarion is going to get mentioned more times than any person on that show.
Look, I'll try and match it with Shadowheart because she's my gal. Me and my roommate would fight over her. We're both playing at the same time. We had very different Shadowhearts based on the way we played the game.
Look, I am a Karlach stan through and through. I've not played the game, but there is just something about a 7-foot-tall devil muscle mummy in leather that just did it for me.
Yeah, I was really mad at myself because I couldn't pick between Shadowheart
or muscle
and
person,
Karlach.
sorry. Karlach's non-binary.
Are they?
The voice actress and voice actor.
Well, it never comes up in the game, so yeah, could be either.
A lot of the text say Karlach will say they more than she. I believe if I remember that correctly.
Makes sense.
Love them.
Yes, but I didn't pick. I couldn't decide between the two, and I think both of them saw that I was paying too much attention to the other one, so I blew my chances with both.
Fuck. Typical man. Doesn't know what he wants.
Oh, they just had such good energies. But yeah,
Labrador energy.
third-party content in D&D Beyond, I think, is a winner. I would love to see D&D make it easier to add homebrew. I think it's a bit of a bitch.
No, that's not even a joke. I had to... So George's brother is insanely good with the D&D Beyond UI. To add the sorcerer subclass in that I've homebrewed so I can get onto D&D Beyond to test it, because obviously doing it on paper is super simple, but doing it in D&D Beyond is really hard, and because so many of us at the table use it because it's simple. You would literally watch me do it. I gave up 10 seconds in. I was like, Georgia, your brother needs to do this for me. And I was like, thank you, because I can't do it. But it's true. They need to streamline that process. Like, it's very difficult to do.
It'd be nice to see some, like, templates. Like, here's a class template. Now go through and...
Literally, like, because every class, their subclass features happen at the same level.
Yeah.
So a fighter, I'm pretty sure, is 3rd, 7th, 11th, and like 17th or
As
something.
Someone who's worked in development for like web dev and all that, and whose roommate is a software engineer, and we've worked on a couple of projects together, I know it could be done. That they could build a template system and it'd be like, what does it affect? Does it go up? Does it go down? At what level? Like, it could just be a drop-down selection of things and you put your own description bars in. I'd love to see that, because more homebrew capability
invites more people.
Yeah, and I think it would really allow more... If there's just more from it, like we're working on new class and stuff, it'd be great to be able to make some base versions on that we can share out to people. Be like, try playing these around. And
I know, like the skirmisher has been a labour of love as a class for me,
and I'm obsessed with it. So I'll be playing a skirmisher, probably most likely, unless something massive changes in our campaign 2, is the whole game.
Yeah, so we're actually, believe it or not, we're well underway for our second campaign, which will be it'll be many fruits of our labour coming together, like world design, retconning, environmental choices, all that sort of stuff. Campaign 2 is going to be on the money. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, the skirmisher is probably going to be a predominant one for that if you decide to play him. And obviously it might change at the very last minute, who knows. But D&D Beyond is slowly, and WotC as a whole, very slowly taking steps in the right direction. They're stumbling a little bit,
but they're listening.
Like that whole thing with like the spells between 2014 and 2024. That caused drama for us in the episode we filmed most recently.
So I went on D&D Beyond, and they did say that in the next few days they'd be doing edits, but it hadn't hit that date yet. But both myself and then Georgia, who you guys probably have just seen come in as a guest on our show, who will be playing through this next arc, all of our spells disappeared except for the ones that were
always prepared
or currently known. So when you went in to change your spell list, there was like a few that were still there, but say once it updated for me, which it fixed when we changed levels, it might have just been a luck or it might have reset something, I had 80 allowed 80 known spells that I could pick between.
Yep.
On that night, throughout our entire game, there was 17 in my list, I think it was. So over 60 spells in my what I should be able to have were gone. Even a couple of the spells that I did have prepared were gone, and it had swapped to other spells. So a couple of my cantrips that because I always have mending, it's just one I leave on, that was gone, and I had something else, which I'm like, I never use that. Like, why have I got that? So for some reason, D&D Beyond just cleared out all of my abilities. And we may do, because lucky, like, we're going into combat and we'd done a combat previously, so I was prepared for combat. But otherwise, it would have been a bitch. If I needed to really, like, change my spells that night and figure it out, suddenly I would have had to be going to paper and going through and tracking everything in a way that I've never had to do with
I know, it's so convoluted, so weird. It was just fucking peculiar. It was fucking peculiar that it happened.
The same thing had happened to Georgia a couple of days before, and hers cleared up just before we started playing.
Yep.
So, don't know if it was across the board, and if anyone else experiences it, honestly, let us know, because I would be curious. But both of us happen to be playing clerics, and I wonder if it was a weird bug with the clerics.
Maybe.
But it's still the fact that because there's changes going on, it is inherently affecting people's ability to play with that system. And when it's the way you run your character, that could wreck a game. Like, yeah, we can always go back to pen and paper, but if halfway through a game suddenly your spells all disappear,
yeah, you're kind of boned.
It throws a bit of a wrench in the gears.
Exactly. It was, and look, like Seb said, we made do, and it ended up being a phenomenal game across the board. Very intense. Not to give too much away, you guys will see it at some point, and we might even get cheeky, and when that episode airs, we'll go back and link it down the bottom to like be a bit clever. But it's that thing where it's like,
it'll be episode 27, I think.
27, yeah, and by the time of recording this, what's the next episode it's about to drop?
20 will, if this goes out when I'm expecting, we might drop this earlier, but we'll be somewhere between 18 and 22.
Yep, it's gonna be intense, but it's just that thing where it's like I'm trying to get into words, like my brain's just rattled. They really are expanding on the system, and with the new third-party content and all that sort of stuff, yes, it's great, but then just the core stuff that they need to maintain it is just fucking failing, man.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting pissed about it, like even
Honestly,
me. Like,
a little bit of attention, but it reminds me of what Adobe do, and what I've been, because I do all the editing for this for Adobe Premiere, and what I've been having struggles with lately is Adobe are bringing out new versions that do all this fancy shit, but the basic level shit's breaking. Like, I couldn't copy paste within Adobe without our entire edits dying on me. I had to completely hack some stuff up and do it and leave it overnight to fully re-render all this stuff just to allow me to open a project. Like, sometimes it's like there's these moonshots if we really want this stuff, but if you forget about your base, all of this doesn't matter because everything else breaks. And I think it's something in scope that a lot of software and stuff deals with. Like, I work in web dev and software and multimedia, and we see it at my job. I hear my roommate talk about it with his job as well. Like, sometimes there's this grand scheme thought, but people forget about the base. And once the base falls out, all that higher up building drops as well.
oh man, it's just a ball ache, honestly.
But I'm still going to give nothing but love to D&D Beyond, because God, they have saved my ass so many times on like bringing new people into the game.
Oh, absolutely. It's simple. D&D Beyond as a tool is amazing. The problem is, it seems that sometimes that high-powered power tool, that highly volatile power tool, is being put in the hands of a complete fucking idiot, and they're breaking it.
I think it's also that we come to rely on it. You know, like when it's so good for so long, we rely on it to work, and then when it doesn't, we're all like...
So I'm very lucky in the sense that I actually don't need it as much as like a player would, because everything I do is written down on a Google Doc, and sometimes I'll even just screenshot the stat blocks and just whack them in there, or I'll write them in my notepad. But you guys that are constantly having to flick between stuff, it is perfect for you as players, and when it doesn't work, the whole game just breaks to a halt.
Especially now when there are so many subclasses and sub choices you can make, that it's like keeping track of all that. Like, I can't just go and be like, what's the generic cleric spell list? Because I need to find the cleric spell list. I need to find my races.
And the expanded ones for your subclass, like, which is not a core subclass.
Stuff. So suddenly it's like, oh, hang on. Where do I find... It's not just go to one place and here's your list. And we've become reliant on that. So on one hand, it's like, it's amazing that we have that to rely on. But as soon as it falls through, it's like... Shit.
Yeah. But
next campaign will be interesting for me because I'll be all pen and paper.
You'll have to be, yeah. Unless but that also leads into I've seen little things about it, but there was a group called Nexus, and they released a thing called Demiplane RPG, which is literally D&D Beyond for 5e and every other fucking RPG system that has come out. Candela Obscura's got it. Pathfinder's on there. Starfinder is on there. Fucking
that's great.
5e's on there.
How well will they allow homebrew content?
Well, apparently that's what it's built for. It's built for you to be able to import shit.
So my C2 character, similar to Mac, who I played in the Undying League, is going to be a custom race, the Forest Folk that we've done, and a custom class. So every part of him is homebrewed.
Yep. See, even with D&D Beyond, custom races are actually surprisingly simple. Like, doing one for a test that I was doing for another...
species now.
Species now, correct, sorry. Doing a species is different. Because you can take the ones that are on there as bases and just change everything. So I found that to be, once I got my head around it a little bit, it's a little bit simpler. Cool. But adding one completely custom that has different abilities across the board, I haven't tried that yet, and I don't know how that's going to go.
So here's a little sidetrack. How do you feel? So the phrasing of going from race to species, whatever, it's not going to affect gameplay.
No.
But my first argument, I think a lot of people out there, that any of you science-minded people go, well, scientifically there's a very different, they're a different point. Like a race and a species, they are very different when you talk about them in the point of what they actually mean. So races are of the same species or subspecies. So generally, if something's different races, you can crossbreed things. Different species cannot crossbreed properly.
Yep. They cannot commingle.
Yeah. And if they do, it causes a lot of issues. Usually, they're sterile, so they can't keep that going.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's a direct result of that name change and the science of it, but now they're getting rid of half-breed races or species.
Half orcs, half elves.
That's all gone.
Stupid. Stupid.
Right? I don't like that.
You know what? I'm gonna put it on paper right now. Put it on the record. Kiss my ass. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's such a big part of these games and fantasy worlds of these like crossbreed things.
Then they make great story beats too. Like if you build it that way. Like I've got a whole thing in my world where certain elf lineages, if you are born of a relation that is an elf and someone else, and you're born a half elf. What they'll do is if you come from an old noble house, they cut the ring finger off their ring hand.
Yeah, so they can't
so to symbolize, it's like your lineage should stop with you because you're a disgrace to what we are. Like it's I know it's like kind of like racist, but that's like old elf shit. But it's like that's what. So now I just can't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't have some cool fucking.
And I wonder if they'll bring
horrific,
it in.
not cool, horrific fucking thing.
I wonder if they'll bring it in with expansions as things go.
Oh, just an excuse to make more money?
Core thing, it not being there is kind of, I don't know, it's a bit disappointing to me.
I hate it. I'm going to be so real. Everything that I've heard from the 2024 revision, I have colourful language incoming. I fucking despise it. I despise everything. Sorcerer got turned into the greatest class.
The clerics are
clerics got jacked up. Clerics and paladins got some good jacks with their channel divinity and stuff. Paladins got nerfed. You've got to call a divine smite before you attack. Bullshit. Can't stack for crits. Bullshit. Fucking like barbarian Path of the Berserker has this thing where it's like reckless attack. Doesn't give you exhaustion, but other people still give you advantage. It's like, cool, you've knocked one thing off. The risk and reward isn't there as much. It's just, I think 5th edition is going to be it. I reckon 5.5 or 1 D&D is not going to fucking...
Well, they're not even calling that now. They're just calling it the 2024 rules. That's what I keep hearing. Like, I don't know. I don't like that. I saw something the other day with...
What do you think, Ollie?
I heard it. He's been quiet today. Good boy.
Because he's enthralled in the conversation.
I always forget their names. There's the two main guys from
Jeremy Crawford
and Chris,
whatever his name is.
Something.
Isn't he the one that does all the interviews with them?
Yeah, there's two of them.
They're all the ads that I'm seeing right now.
And they're talking about it. One of the things they've introduced is human species. I think it's because they're adding all this shit to all the different species. But humans wake up every day with heroic inspiration. I'm like, why? Why do humans get heroic inspiration?
So you're telling me...
Where's the law that makes that make sense?
So you're telling me that a farmer is going to wake up inspired every day?
It just... Why?
Kiss my hairy European ass.
I reckon it's just because they're giving so much to all these other races. They're trying to build things up. Like, suddenly now, I think it was orcs and dwarves are getting 120 feet of dark vision. Because narratively, they spend their whole lives underground or whatever. But I'm like, I get where you're coming
And
from.
orcs are now like roaming farmers instead of being like the classic like barbarians and shit, which I think is fucking. You can do whatever. You can literally write it however you want. I've had campaigns where orcs are both a warrior race and a farming race. They're just casuals, like casual, just existent in the world. They're now trying to like deeply ingrain it into the lore, which I think it can possibly limit it can stifle creative ability.
Hey guys, it's Editing Seb here. I just wanted to jump in and reiterate what we're saying here, that the following part of the conversation on the race and species name change is coming from a well-meaning place of genuine curiosity. We understand that everyone's lived experience is very different out there, and we hope that nothing we say here is going to offend anyone. We are trying to come at this from a place of curiosity and a love for the game. We also want to open up these conversations, so if anyone disagrees or just has anything to say on this topic, please let us know in the comments. We want this to be a place where everyone's opinions and thoughts are welcome, so long as you say them in a kind and respectful way to the rest of the community.
I think as well, they're trying to play it safe. There's a lot of stuff where they don't want to put anything in that says this particular racial group are a particular way.
Look at Ravenloft, man. You just reminded me. Van Ricken's Guide to Ravenloft. If you bought the physical copy before the errata, all the references to the Vistani, they remove any references using the word gypsy. Gypsy, I think one of the lines in the original book was they are akin to gypsy folk, and that obviously was not good. We don't use that term to describe that traveling kind of people. Yeah. I don't even know the correct word to use, so I'm not even going to try. But those kind of roaming nomadic folk that like travel the European countryside.
We have that issue right now because we're trying to build a similar, inspired by that culture in a positive way, into some backstory for something in our next campaign, and we want to approach it in the best way because
we've already got it. We used a name. We used a Greek naming convention.
We've completely shifted the naming around, so we're not using any words like that. But there is a tough thing I think about when certain things become I can't think of the word, but it's like you have to be respectful of every possible player out there.
Exactly. It's just acknowledging those cultures and not saying anything that's derivative or bad.
Which is why I understand why they want to change from race to species, because on one hand saying that anyone from a certain race is like this isn't great, but when you change it to species now, why can't we say that this species are more I
would have
they're trying to just not step on any possible crossover, but some things and obviously again, in your home games you can make orcs raging wild barbarians that do awful things, or you can do that to the elves. You can do whatever you want, but they're really playing it very safe.
It's so funny. In one of my friends' campaigns, Corey, I play a Wood Elf Gloomstalker Ranger, and he has homebrew statistic rules for character building in his. He's got a very particular about his rule set for the campaign. And I play a Gloomstalker Ranger called Shade. He has a Bloodhawk companion called Gouge, and the dude is a guerrilla warfare tactician. Like the mini I bought it from Miniac. It's that Wood Elf holding a dude's severed head. He's literally the song Green Face by Iced Earth. He is that guy. He'll decapitate people and leave their heads on sticks. And apparently, he's way harsher than any orc that he's met at this point. It's silly to me. And plus, species is a stupid word. Just use heritage. That would just make way more sense. But I think that's what Daggerheart's using, and I think that's also what MCDM's RPG Draw Steel is using.
And look, I understand it, but I don't know. For me, the one that the race and species thing, I'm instead of calling it species, let's come up with something else. We're in a fantasy world. We can come up with a different phrase.
Just use heritage.
Yeah, because the word
so
species
easy.
breaks so many other things. And honestly, I think it can lead to more hate when you're talking about people that are meant to be of the same ancestry in some way being a different species, because that's even more separating.
Yes, and I can hear some people typing right now that are probably going to have comments and stuff. By all means, if we've said something that rubs you the wrong way or you agree with,
it.
please put it down. But we are people that only can only relate to our experiences. Me being Euro descendant, Seb being
As white as they come.
As white as they come. As white
English,
as they come.
Irish, a little bit Viking back there, we're pretty sure. But
Yeah, there you
there's,
go. Okay, Ragnar, calm down. But like, put it below, because the whole point of this is to like, we want to have those discussions. You know what I mean? So, like we can hear you loud and clear, but we want to see it directly from other people's point of view.
Help
if
us
you
understand.
agree, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, this is a huge community, and I don't consider myself a hateful guy. I don't have that energy in me.
I've been known to be wrong once or twice, so if we could add to the.
Mate, I get told I'm wrong at work every day.
But yeah,
Every day.
I know the one part I think that bugs me though is the removal of half.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And if they release a book in the next year as a supplement and it's got those races in it, I'm going to poop in an envelope and send it to Hasbro, because I fucking hate that. I hate it. I hate it so much.
That's the thing. A lot of this is like, what is legitimate choices and what is, let's do it this way so we can paywall it.
It's, oh God.
And I'm sure the individuals
they're just
at
turning into Fortnite.
D&D don't want to be doing this, but they're, you have to.
When your money to fund your project comes from a parent company, you unfortunately have to adhere to the rules of the parent company.
Yeah.
And Hasbro only care about the dollar signs. They don't care about the relationship with the customers. Where I know for a fact that the people that work at Wizards of the Coast do care about the customers.
Yeah.
But they're suffering because people up there don't know what they're talking about. That's my $2.50 on the subject. It's I like where they're going with the third-party content. I don't like the inconsistency on the development side of how badly D&D Beyond is suffering because of it. And I hope that they just take a little bit more fucking time and they precariously cross that bridge.
Yeah. Do it right, and you're going to have a lot of praise. But it's also very...
I actually had an argument with someone at work about this a couple of months ago. Me having an argument, shocking, crazy, where I was being told that I was going too slow. And my response, anytime someone has said this to me, it has been the same. The last 10 years of my life, it's one of the only few life lessons that I've carried with me from young adult to turning hair, grey adult. I can do it slow and do it right, or I can do it fast and it's fucked by the end.
You got to do it again, and you have to take it more time.
What do you want? And 9 times out of 10, they always say, well, I want it done correctly. And I was like, then leave me alone and let me do it slow. Because if I do it slow, it's going to be perfect. And 9 times out of 10, my slow is actually not that slow. If I can get a groove going, as most people that work in development or jobs that require time, we can always adhere to it. If you do it in a nice, calm pace, your calm pace ends up being better. Slow is smooth, smooth is steady, and there's a reason why nothing rhymes with rushing in like an asshole.
The slow is smooth, smooth is steady, steady is fast, or whatever, that old thing. It's like, yeah.
All my old army friends used to say it. I mean, the concept of reloading their rifles, or rather back here, because we're Aussie and we have bullpups.
You do it right the first time, great. But again, me and my roommate always have little bitching sessions about this, because I work in multimedia, he works in like software development. How many times it's this...
Nerd.
Yeah, but there's these things, it's like, we want all this happening down here, but then they can be like, oh, we want to change this to look like this because it'll be really cool. It's like, yeah, okay, that'll take 6 months. Oh, no, we want it in 3 weeks. It's like,
no.
Well, okay, we can do it in 3 weeks, but then we can't do this. Oh, no, we want that too. Can't we just do them both? No. And then there's the thing, well, what if we just throw more money at it? And one of the favourite things I've ever heard Taliesin Jaffe say, that I quote all the fucking time, is 9 women can't make a baby in a month. Sometimes things just take time.
I've never heard that before.
It's the thing, like, sometimes I think, let's throw more money. Let's throw more people at it. But some things just take time.
Holy fuck, that's fucking hilarious.
It's great, isn't
I
it?
can't wait to say that to my boss next week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because like, you see it in tech all the time. We get it where they're like, what if we just bring in more contractors? Or what if we hire an external client to help with this? And it's like, well, A has to be finished before B. B has to be finished before C. You can't just do them all. So this is the timeline. Some things you can throw more people at. Some things just take time. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite sayings now. So there you go.
9 women can't make a baby in a month, bro. Could you imagine if they could though?
I can't remember when he said it, but I just remember hearing it going, that is up there with... So my two favourite quotes of his ever are that and what is a cult? What is a church but a cult with a franchise?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh my goodness gracious.
He's a brilliant man.
He is a brilliant man. That triggered the other thing in the back of my brain that we have is with the whole rise of third-party content and stuff. Just recently on Kickstarter, there was the announcement which you didn't know about until I told you today when I had the idea in my brain. Cosgrove or Cosgrave, I can't remember the word anymore. I'll quickly pull it up to check. But the whole idea is now multiple people in our group immediately are big fans of Brandon Sanderson. Mistborn, the Stormlight Archives, or Cosmere, that's what it is. I just remembered it. A new RPG system and game is coming out for Brandon Sanderson's expanded universe and books.
Now, question, because I think I heard something about it today. Was he the one that his version of the phase, the Glooming?
I can't recall.
Glooming?
That's more of a question for Bailey or Monica. I believe they've both
may have
read
heard
it.
something about this the other day, yeah.
But it's like, man, like, I think people have been asking about getting like a Stormlight Archive like setting or RPG or something for ages. Like I've tried listening to Mistborn and it didn't catch my attention, but I've heard a lot of positive things about the Stormlight Archive, so I might try and listen to those audiobooks instead and see if that catches my attention. But a lot of people, apparently the Stormlight Archives is very geopolitical, very Game of Thronesy, but not Game of Thrones in that sense, but classic high fantasy. It's not low fantasy like Game of Thrones is. So I, for one, am ecstatic. I can't wait. I think it'll be great. I'd love to try it. I know Sky just backed like the full thing, which is going to be a ridiculous amount of money. But she also likes Brandon Sanderson. So I cannot wait. I think it's going to be a welcome addition to the space. It'll be a welcome addition to the community. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't know Brandon Sanderson's content, like even myself, I don't know much about it. I know that he's a phenomenal writer.
Is it a whole new system? Or
I believe it's a whole new system. I've looked on all the ads and everything, and I can't see anything about 5e. Mm-hmm. So I might be incorrect. And obviously, by the time this video comes out, we edit it. We might add a thing down the bottom saying if we found it or not. But I've yet to find anything about 5e adaptability. Now, granted, if you're a DM that's like done it for a while, you probably could. But man, new system, kind of cool. It uses the polyhedral array, which is sick. So I, for one, am excited. I would actually think I would thrive learning more about Brandon Sanderson's universe through that than trying to listen to the audiobooks while I'm trying to operate a forklift.
On the third party note, what we've found really interesting as our viewers, are you interested in content that isn't D&D or the game you play? Because we just put out the
final episode.
Yep, of Kids on Brooms. We did a 6-story arc. A lot of fun. Like, it's the same people playing a system, and since our stuff is all very roleplay, honestly, a lot of mechanics don't always come up in things necessarily.
It was very easy to do. It was very story-driven.
But the clicks and the views have been significantly lower than any D&D content that we put out.
It's just odd for me because Kids on Brooms was really fun to run. It was really fun to do. The twist at the end was awesome. The payoff just felt so good for me. It's so peculiar going back and looking at the statistics and being like, wow, the engagement is really low. Maybe people just don't like this system as much.
Yeah, and it could also be that it's not being shown to you because it's not tagged as D&D. So YouTube's like, oh, you only watch D&D stuff. So it might just be that it's not being shared. Like our last one of these videos that we did has had really high click engagement, but really low numbers. So it's just not being shown to everyone. So sometimes it is the algorithm. And I'm curious for you guys to let us know, are you interested in seeing us playing games outside of D&D or watching, not just us, but anyone playing other systems? Or do you just want to watch D&D because that's what you know?
What you know.
Play?
Yeah. Like, look at this example. other Georgia, your friend Georgia, that was on with the airships game, who's currently traveling like the world. Yeah, what's up, dude?
In the US.
Woo! Didn't know you were cool like that.
She's
really big on
staying in like a campground, or I think she's there now, but her plan was to go find this like campground set up on a farm that someone owned or something and write a series of short films.
Awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
Living the dream. But Georgia got me onto, I believe they're called the Glass Cannon podcast.
Yes.
And they do Pathfinder.
She went to their live show.
I know. In the front crowd, it was incredible. Even Pathfinder is getting like heaps of clicks now because it's so... Pathfinder is easily accessible because it's similar to D&D, and I find a lot of people are getting into it.
It's split off from 3.5.
Yeah, because I remember Paizo took the OGL for that edition and then they've changed it.
Yeah, so Paizo were doing...
Or Paizo, however you say
or
it.
whatever, yeah. They had a magazine doing adventures. So once a month they'd release this magazine that would be one-shot adventures and expanded stuff from 3.5. And then when 4 came out and changed it so much, they went, oh, well, we've done so much from this. And at that point, D&D cancelled their license to do the magazine for 4.
Yep.
They took the stuff from 3.5 and made their own game, and all the stuff they'd custom built from the zine all this time they took over there, and
I'm actually
sort of spiked out from it.
And look, it's created an empire. You know, like more power to them. One of the lads that I work with, Josh, he actually gave me he printed out the PDF copies of the beginners set for me that he had when he purchased it. So we'll bind it up. So eventually I'm going to read over it because I myself would actually like to try and DM a game of Pathfinder, probably off stream. So because there's a lot more that goes into it. So 3 action economy, it's like 4 action economy. It's insane. It's intense. Georgia, if you're back in time, I'd love some help. Other Georgia.
I have no idea when she's planning to come back.
Maybe never.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. But also another one. Did you see DC 20?
No.
So DC 20 was, I can't remember the gentleman's name. Again, I always pull from my memory and I don't write notes before I do this. So it's just peculiar to me.
Yeah, we just talk in here.
It was developed by this fella. I believe he's called the Dungeon Coach or something. I think his name.
Oh.
You might have, the logo
yeah.
is that purple dragon with DC 20 on it. That's a system that he's built that basically like almost operates in like a streamlined 5e, but it's also way more customizable from the jump. I almost backed it. I decided not to. I backed like 3.5, 4 Kickstarters or something at that point. And I backed Draw Steel by MCDM. So I'm spending a lot of money on games that I'm not going to get for a year. So I didn't want to do that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the PDF to become available and I'll buy it and I'll just see. I personally do not ever think that I'll move away from 5th edition. It's just too easy for me. I know the system back to front. I have fun homebrewing for it. That's it. But I do like running other games. But that DC 20 is also one that intrigues me. It's gone from, I believe it's 6 stats down to 4. And obviously there's like your heritage bonuses, class bonuses, etc., etc., etc. And then, I think it's also got a 4 action economy. And it just streamlines. Oh, it's points. You get a certain amount of points I think you get to use per turn to fund certain actions.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a different way of breaking it.
A very different way, because then if you've got something that costs less points but is more effective, you can spend more points to do that. Something like that. I might be wrong.
Because sometimes I get really frustrated in my particular character being like the Grave Domain Cleric. If I do a certain thing, I don't have any bonus actions if I cast a certain spell, and there's literally nothing I can do as my bonus. So it's just a whole section of my stores basically that are gone.
It's so weird. It's like, hey, this is your action. You get to cast 1 spell and then your turn's done.
Yeah.
What do you want?
And obviously that's action economy. I have to figure out a way, if I want to cast a decent sized damage spell, I only have certain cantrips, but there's not the greatest cantrip options. So often I get to a point where I'm like, well, I've already cast this. There's nothing else literally nothing else I can do because some of my cantrips are still an action.
You know
my
you need to
decent
do?
cantrips are an action.
Straight up, take the Meta Magic Adept feat. Get some sorcery points, just so on a backup, just in case you need to, you can pop off a leveled spell and then pop off a cantrip.
But
That's what I did for Vinny.
There's ways to work around it, but Like, we've just hit level 9, and I still essentially, if I do an action as a spell, a leveled spell, there's nothing of value during combat I can do with my bonus action.
I have to figure that out.
Because my hand is holding a shield, my other hand is holding a... my magic thingy. What's the word?
Yeah, your focus.
Focus, that's it. So unless I take the feats that allow me to get rid of that or do something specific... But there's nothing I can do there.
It's one of those things where it's like, yes, it's annoying, but that's also the limitation of the game. You need to pick your skill tree as you go. I am, and I have said this on multiple recordings, I am a firm believer that if we get to a certain point in the campaign and you are not having fun and something is wrong, I will allow rerolls. I will allow diversions into multi-class. I will also allow you to sunset the character and play another character.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, fun is the biggest priority. Yeah. Like, Bailey and I have had conversations about Voyage and Voyage's capability in game, because Voyage is obviously a ranger, and rangers have a lot of key abilities that work well outside, but we did a lot of urban espionage for the first half of the campaign. Yes. And I'm like, fuck, maybe and plus with having the magical bow as well, I shortchanged him a lot on that, so there's been discussions about what Voyage can become later on down the line. Yeah. So all that sort of stuff. Even Liam, when he was playing Dardia, he goes, I like the paladin. He goes, but I don't think I'm playing it to its full ability. Maybe I'll sunset him and play a different character. And we were so early on, I was like, yeah, dude, absolutely. Then obviously his surgery happened, and he was bedridden for months. So I was like, and he goes, I'm just going to dip. And I was like, chill, bro. I'm going to keep Dardia, though, as like a backup just in case I need an NPC for something. But it's the limitations of the game. We have to make it work.
Absolutely. But that's where I think other systems doing different ways of, using a certain amount of points to do things.
Exactly.
Could be interesting.
Like even Zephyr's the rogue. I hate the fact that daggers are 1d4. It is so stupid to me. I can cause let's look at it on a physical, in a real world standpoint. You can cause as much harm to somebody with a pocket knife as you can with a machete, right? Straight up. Short that, because that's hilarious.
I don't know if that's true. One hack of a machete could take an arm. Pocket knife could stab.
Yeah, but
still got a fucking
watch Gangs in New York. You can stab someone with a short blade and kill them. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. It's like it's perfectly legal. But I stole the first Illrigger thing, the Dagger Adept feat, which is where at certain levels, the dagger becomes a different die. And then the Illrigger...
They're better with it. So
the Illrigger Revised came out, and they completely scrapped that ability. Now, granted, you don't have to play the revised version. They basically just gave you two versions, the OP version or the normal version. And when I play them now, will use the normal version because I'm a bit of a purist like that. But I just made that a feat that any of my players can take now. You guys can all take that feat at some point. Because
this is homebrew, though.
Exactly.
Change rules. People make changed rules all the time.
Coming back to that homebrew content.
I saw a great DM one the other day. Someone was talking about on TikTok where they do, if people roll a natural one, they failed it so bad it was successful. So it was this twist. He was like, so say if you were doing a lookout and they rolled the natural one, he's like, we'll explain to him, he's like, well, yeah, you think you saw something out there. And he's like, because the person knows they rolled a natural one, they're going to be like playing dumb, like, oh, there's something out there, but they actually think there's not because they thought they saw something, but they know it was a one on the map.
That's
so
clever.
They're stupid and they'll wander out there, but turns out there was stuff out there. Like,
it's clever. In my personal opinion, it opens up too many opportunities to be like, you're almost just giving them success regardless of what they roll.
I think it's the idea he's saying is too many people metagame knowing that they rolled a natural one, so whatever he says is going to be a lie. But
true.
It's like they end up usually doing something that's so stupid because they meta think it's a lie. But it is, so it's like they're doing the bad thing because they're dumb, not because they're playing it.
Okay, I can see it. I personally wouldn't do it that way. I think there's great storytelling in failure, and we had I'm not revealing anything because I want this will come out before that episode airs, but we had a very insane moment at the end of the last episode pertaining to one of our characters, and I will say nothing else on the matter. That just shows, there is beautiful storytelling in success, and there's beautiful storytelling in failure, and there's beautiful storytelling to be told in the middle.
Yeah.
Which I cannot wait for.
But yeah, on the note, like saying before, of like, so this is a bit of a random one, but I still, to this day, have not heard a good argument of why you can't cast 2 leveled spells in a turn if one is an action and one is a bonus action.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I for one know for a fact that if I was to say as campaign 2 as an example was to introduce it, all my encounters would be fucking. I need to make them way harder. I know that for a fact because that's just I always think that I'm gonna win and then I get fucking shafted by this lot. And my dice hate me. It's a whole thing.
It's hard to find that right level though, because you don't want to just TPK every time, but you want it to be a
Yes,
challenge. I do. Well, it's gonna ruin our stream if, like, halfway through this major arc, all right, on to the next campaign.
I've actually thought about what would ever happen if I TPK'd a party, and I have some pretty cool ideas.
Oh, there's fun things we can do.
There's fun things I could do with it, but I don't ever want that to happen. I think I've gotten pretty close, but...
Like, the loss of 1 or 2 characters, sure, like, that's part of the game, but if you TPK everyone, it's like...
Like, I remember, like, again, this always seems to be a thing, like, towards the end of the episode, we start going on tangents, like, really hard. But... campaign 3 of Critical Role, which I know you're not too up to date on, but I'm completely up to date.
I'm spending too much of my time making these.
Did you see the episode where they first fought Odahan Thul?
Yeah, last one I left, they just went to the moon.
Excellent. Okay, the moon. That Odahan Thul fight. Initially, people actually gave Matt Mercer a lot of flack because they're like, you basically just made an enemy that they couldn't beat. And he goes, well, no. He goes, the enemy isn't going to be weaker because they're lower level. That fucking idiot is stuck on the tree. Look. There you go.
There we go. There's our turtle distraction for the day.
We've got to we keep talking about it and we never add videos of them.
We didn't. Like, we took the camera over there. Maybe that's the episode you haven't seen yet.
Oh, maybe the episode we haven't seen yet, yeah.
I think we need to get the guys to do a little turtle with thumbs up that can pop up when there's...
Hell yeah. He does it every episode. But yeah, like Matt Mercer copped a lot of heat for that because they're like, oh, you basically just made an unwinnable encounter. He goes, no, the enemy's not weaker because you're lower level. He goes, you guys, the characters fucked up, made a bad call. It turned into fucking disarray. And Odahan Thul came down there and fucking smoked him.
Yeah. Sometimes you can say as much as possible, like, warning, don't go this way, don't do that. They're fucking powerful. But if everyone decides to do it anyway... It's like, there's a lot of video games now, like, let's go to Elden Ring. You're a big fan of that. If I decide to just dart across the map into an area that's well past my level limit, I'm going to get fucking murdered.
Yeah, it's like if you decide to go try and fight, I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's Godwin, who ends up becoming Horalu, his barbarian self. Yeah, you're going to get murdered.
He hasn't. He knows the lore. Way better than
I love Souls games. I can't play them. I don't have the dexterity and the capacity for them, but I love the story, so I watch a lot of videos. Fat Brett's been a big one for me on YouTube. Excellent breakdowns of characters. Just did one on Radigan the other day. Perfect. My favourite character of Elden Ring is Godric the Grafted. There is something about him that's just so disgusting that I love.
I've played probably 60% of the game, I've got no idea who anyone's name is.
Godric the Grafted's the guy with all the arms and stuff on him, and he puts the dragon head on his wrist.
It's been a while.
Forefathers one and all, bear witness. Do it in the comments, you all will.
See, this is me. I play a game and I'll know the lore inside and out while I'm playing, and then I move on to the next game, and the last game's just gone.
Damn,
I don't have the memory
that
of
sucks,
you guys.
man. You're missing out on a great time. You're missing out on a great time.
But yeah, the point is, it's not like a classic video game where everything scales with you. If you want it to be a realistic world, that's not kind of how it works.
Yeah, I thought about having multiple stat blocks for the Wanderer to scale with the party, but then I've gone, no. I'm going to max him out to his fully realised self, and then if you guys fuck up, then be on your shoulders, brother.
I used to have fun sometimes with mine when I'd have them reach a point, my party would go somewhere and some wolves would attack, but they would high quite a high level, and everyone's expecting them to be hard, and they would just fucking turn them to smoke because they're like CR1 creatures, But that's not the real encounter of the game. It's sort of just to lull people into a false sense of security. Or like,
I literally did that recently. Do you remember? On the road towards...
We just talked our way out of that one.
Talk. You'll see. You guys will see. That now we're going to a weekly release schedule for the episodes.
You'll have had that one by now. That was sick. That was
It might have been
18?
17 or 18. Yep. That was excellent. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was inspired by Campaign to a Critical Role when the bandits happened upon them at camp and Caleb immolates that dude alive.
It's like, I did it with zombies once too, where like a town was getting attacked by undead, and the first couple of waves of zombies were just
weak as fuck.
a hit would kill them. Kind of like how you play the minions.
Great tool.
But these guys were just sort of a way to trick my players into wasting a few of their spell slots and using up some shit before the real big bad showed up.
Yeah. I made a point to, whenever I've used minions in game, to mention to people that that's the rule set that I'm using, because I don't want them burning through heaps of big stuff. But obviously when you play spellcasters and stuff, you kind of don't have a choice. Like, because sometimes a lot of cantrips aren't super damaging cantrips, and if you want to get multiple at once, you have to use a level spell.
Yeah.
It becomes a fun tool. But I agree. You just throw weak enemies and lull them into that false sense of security, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? And like the real big dude comes out, and you're like, ooh. I love that. It's like when you're playing Left 4 Dead, and the AI director thinks you're doing a little bit too well, so it just hurls a tank at you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, no! And then you get to escape.
Games.
You get to escape, and then there's 2 tanks.
Yeah, so a lot of tangents today.
Well worth it though. All on brand.
The topic was meant to be D&D Beyond. I think we got 50% of that on there.
A lot of it was about D&D Beyond.
Let us know what you think about the new rule set. I haven't done a whole heap of research. I'm just seeing sort of what marketing's pushing out and what a few other YouTubers that I follow talk about, and what we've talked about in our group chats.
I'm more the one that's on the prowl for like new systems, the updates, like the D&D update I came and told Seb about straight away. That's more my thing, where I'm looking out about I like looking for the disturbances in the market to see what people are talking about, which is where Cosmere came up, and I was like, that looks awesome. We definitely got to talk about that for sure.
But yeah, let us know what everyone's thoughts are out there. Like, are you guys excited to try a new rule set? Are you like, sort of like we are, like, we don't need one. You can make some changes to the old one, but I don't think we need a new D&D game system. I know we keep hearing from them saying that it's made it so much better and all this, and I'm like, for me, honestly, it feels like they're just trying to make things more. Give everyone more stats and more feats, and I don't think it needs that.
And what annoys me the most is they're like, oh, we made it better. It's like, no, you said you've made it better. I think you've made it a flaming pile of turd. So forgive me if I'm, what's the term? Forgive me if I'm skeptical.
Yeah, reluctant to. Like, I'm keen to play a thing at some point and see if it does.
I'm like, don't get me wrong. I am still going to buy the player's handbook because there's new feats in there.
And
I want to see if
the artwork and stuff does look pretty.
Ooh.
You don't like it?
Bro, did you not hear about how they got caught out using AI editors on the art?
Again? They didn't learn from Bixby's?
But it was when when the first cover got announced for the first cover for the player's handbook with the dwarf warrior on the front. Someone pointed out that it had been AI edited, or something like that. Yeah,
because the Giants book came out and they got in shit for that. I thought they would have learned.
Which I bought Bigsby's Glory of Giants because the barbarian class is sick.
Like, slight AI edits. I don't know. Like, if it's the artist and they've given the okay and all that.
I think that was the drama. It's one thing when you made the art and then you use like the Photoshop tool to edit it. That's your art. You've done it from point A to point B. I think what a lot of the drama was, they paid the artist and then did it without the artist knowing about it. Again, I don't know the full thing. If you do, pop it down below. But it's just funny to me that was the thing you said, oh, the art's beautiful. I was like, oh, holy buddy. I don't think he knows about that.
Well, AI art can still be beautiful. It's just morally questionable.
It can be horrifically mutated.
Oh, that too.
AI can't do hands. Hashtag.
It's getting better.
Have you seen the ones of where they're making the AI videos of Donald Trump holding up a convenience store?
Dude. AI video is still terrifying. It's getting scarily good.
I do the best grocery store robberies. No one robs groceries like me.
But yeah, it's I didn't know about that drama. I'm gonna have to look into that one because I always find the AI stuff very interesting.
It's just wacky, but yeah. Give us your thoughts down below. If there's any other new game systems that are coming out that you guys are excited for, like Draw Steel, the Brandon Sanderson system, anything that maybe hasn't come up in our main feeds, please put it down below. You know, we play tabletop games. We want to fucking know all about it, and we want to do some more research. Drop questions down below or drop statements. We'll definitely bring them into the next video. That'd be really cool. But yeah, new D&D sucks. 5e forever.
Yeah, unnecessary. But
I am gonna get this bug.
we had like a week of wet, now it's sunny, so there's mozzies and
It's fucking hot.
yeah, it's meant to still be winter here, so evidently we're both wearing singlets. That's our thoughts on D&D Beyond and what's been going on lately. The changes to 2024 rules, a bit about third-party content and our own content that we're sort of playing around with. Like Cody's just said, if there's topics you want to hear us talk about, put them down below, throw them in our Discord. We've got a big list that we keep adding stuff to that we're going to talk more about this. We have another one of these in the bin, but we're probably going to put this one out first because this stuff's more relevant. And we're going to get Mon on here soon as well. So
then the core 5 have been on here.
Yeah.
Or the core 4 rather.
And then, who you guys should have already seen, if not by now, in one of the next ones, our guest player Georgia, who's coming in and playing a big part of my backstory. Once we finish this arc, which will probably be done in the next few weeks, we're going to try and get her in for probably one of these, just talking general D&D and tabletop gaming. But we're probably also going to do a special one of me and her talking about how her guest character played in, coming into our game, and how our story arcs all.
And there'll probably be a tone table in there too, because I generally like to do tone tables at the end where everyone's just together, and because we do 2 recordings a night, if we only need one episode to cap it, we'll do one of those. At some point, we like to get Josh back on as well. We want to get Josh in here to discuss the concept of like coming in, creating a short form character that exists within, because you know, environmentally, everyone has to adapt their characters based on the environments they're in. So to come in, you know, playing an artificer, as we've all come to call it, it's going to be good. We're going to start really branching out and talking and getting everyone's insights about playing characters in the long form versus the short form, etc., etc.
Yeah. So hopefully we're going to end up with a few more, you know, probably more sparse shows of things like talking to our guests as its own show, not a part of Above the Table, but we'll also do them on Above the Table as another thing. So we're going to try and do more content covering more things. And we forgot to do it today, but going forward, I want to start trying to introduce a new segment on here, which is going to be 5-minute DM.
Yep.
You want to try?
Go for it.
So, here's our concept. I'm going to give our guest a few prompts, and they have to come up with a encounter or a story beat based on those prompts.
Okay, great.
So, what I'm going to do is the table right here.
Set a timer on your phone.
So, what you've got is, on our table, we have a pile of creatures, an owlbear, a weird 4-armed giant, a couple of buildings, a ship, and a portal. You have 5 minutes to give me a story arc, starting now.
Okay, so the way I'm looking at this setting is we are in a multiverse planes port. So ships that can fly, or like wild space vessels, as an example, can travel through portals and end up at this port that floats in the middle of wild space. And thus, because it's very much like very Planescape, the city of doors, city of portals, that could be something you could use. But if you want to homebrew it, maybe it's just a floating dock in the middle of empty wild space that just has portals to all these other different realms. And of course, portals like that have to be governed by some sort of police. So there is a police force that makes sure that no ne'er-do-wells are coming through. And perhaps this portal here, this vessel is pulled up, it's an Aarakocra Pyroku. Maybe the flock took a new turn in life and they're trying to be good. They've pulled up into this interdimensional wild space dock, and there's all these people around trading and all that sort of stuff. All of a sudden, the portal staircase, which leads to one of many different realms, begins to shudder and shake. The 2 security guards that are kind of there turn to look, and in one instance, a long taloned hand comes out, grabs one of the guards and pulls him in. And as the other guard prepares up his weapons, he is shattered with gore and viscera coming from the other side of the portal. And that's where we see a conglomerate of Goliaths and barbarians and an Aarakocra that looks surprisingly similar to one that is pulled up on the boat on the dock. maybe an alternate universe, perhaps an alternate timeline, and behind him more of his retinue and a four-armed giant that begins to wreck this interdimensional dock. Roll for initiative. There you go.
Beautiful. You got that in a minute 42.
Fuck on good!
This is what happens when we have a DM at the table. I feel like we're going to have a bit more difficulty for some of our people going forward.
Good.
But maybe that can be the theme. Maybe I'll set up a slightly different encounter on the table every time and throw it to the person to give us a story. But still that encounter, have fun with it. I absolutely fucking love the idea of a multiverse dock town. That would be a super fun thing to throw down on the table. And that might have to be a one-shot in the future at some point.
Don't do it. I've got ideas. I've got campaign 2 stuff on the brain.
So we're going to try and play around with things like that going forward. Maybe a few different themed moments that we're going to repeat. And
5-minute fight night.
Yeah. So, hope you guys have enjoyed. That's our opinions on the base topics and our rants and side hustles that we tend to... side tangents that we tend to...
I'm going to get a Nerf gun that has the word tangent written on the side of the foam dart and just start shooting it across the room.
I have so many Nerf guns.
Tangent.
But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. If you haven't seen it already, we're about to release a new opening sequence for our channel. If it's been in an episode, I might put it here to show you. Otherwise, it'll be out in the next couple of weeks. But we're really excited. We've been having a bit of fun mixing it up. Custom music from Cody's brother. So we've got our own theme song that no one else has. And completely redone our openings with beautiful art that the guys have done. And just, it's us. It's our own.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool knowing that you've got music from like a signed music producer who just happens to be my brother, which means I don't have to pay him.
And if any of you do watch our channel, which I guess if you've lasted this long, you're probably general viewers of ours, we're starting to put out after each base arc the tales so far. So we've got Georgia here now as our resident lore keeper. Her brain just locks on all the details.
That woman is incredible.
Yep. And she's going to sit down at the end of each arc or before we start the next section and give you guys a catch up. So anyone that has watched through our whole campaign can get a nice reminder of the first 15 episodes. Or if you want to jump in from about episode 16, because to be honest, it's around 17 or 18. We've swapped to a new audio system. We've cleared through all the bugs
just
of
better.
our early stuff. We've gotten new cameras, new kits. We've worked through all the bugs. And while we'd love you to go back and watch everything,
we understand
why some people might be a bit, there's a lot there. So if you want to jump in at episode 16, you can get a good recap of where we're up to now in a nice little 7 or 8 minute video, giving us all the highlights. And we're going to try and do those continually going forward, giving you segmented quick updates of where we've been in our last period of time. So more different kinds of shows coming out on this channel. We're going to try and build as much content out on here as we can. We're going to expand the Tomes universe. I've been playing around making some shirts. We're making modules. We're making custom races. We are growing all of this off our own dime, off our own time, and for fun. So get involved. We want the back and forth with everyone. We want to work with all of you. Anyone who's keen, any artists that would be interested in maybe collaborating with us and putting some work in, like doing some art for any of these, we'd absolutely love it. Obviously, full credit's going to go out. We want to share and collaborate with people as much as we can. And we just want to make stuff fun for everybody.
Want to get huge.
So, I can't think of anything else for today.
I can't think of anything else I wanted to add. The DC-20 thing was a random sidebar for me. So
till next time.
Fade to black.
Fade. We're fading today.